In the last few months, we looked at 3 animated dinosaur movies: Disney's Dinosaur, BBC's Walking with Dinosaurs the 3D movie, and Pixar's The Good Dinosaur. As we saw, each one of them had their share of problems. But you know what else they had in common? Other than the fact they were all compared to The Land Before Time? They all starred herbivores. Herbivores on the constant run from carnivores because they're weak to fight them head on. But ever wondered how a movie starring a carnivore dinosaur would be like? Thankfully, we have not one, but 2 movies starring a carnivore dinosaur, and they're from Korea of all places. So today we're taking a look at 2 movies. Technically 3, but I'll explain that later. In 2008, Korean TV channel Educational Broadcasting System, or EBS, released a 3-part documentary series about Korean prehistoric life titled Koreanosaurs, or by its alternative title, Dinosaurs in the Korean Peninsula. This series was a massive hit in Korea and led the production team to turn it into a movie. Taking inspiration from James Cameron's Avatar and its popularity, it inspired the producers to apply the same technology used there for their own movie and shoot it in New Zealand. Thus the beginning of what would be known as Speckles the Tarbosaurus, renamed to the Dino King in the US, not to be confused with a toy commercial. The director was Hang Sang-ho. According to IMDb, he also directed the 2013 animated movie Pororo the Racing Penguin and 2019's animated movie Princess Strawberry Rabbit, in addition to the sequel of Speckles released in 2017, Speckles the Tarbosaurus 2, The New Paradise, or Dino King 3D Journey to Fire Mountain. The movie was produced by 3 companies: EBS, the same producers of the original documentary, Dream Search CNC, and Olive Studio. The distribution was by CJ Entertainment. Released on January 26, 2012, it attracted over 1 million admissions, making it the second most successful local animation of all times. So what difference did the Asian market make to set it apart from the other Western attempts? Let's find out.
All dinosaurs, even the biggest ones, come from small eggs. And that is where my story begins.
Oh.
And me, the super cute 1-year-old spotty face.
Oh. Yes, people, this is the movie. Talking Dinosaurs. Well, to be exact, it's just our main dinosaur Speckles who narrates to us what's going on in the movie. This narration, though, it's almost like the narration of a documentary, but it's obviously made from the perspective of the character. Sometimes it's educational when it comes to the creatures we see here.
Whoa, it's a massive dinosaur. It's eating gravel to help with digestion. Must be a Therizinosaurus.
Other times, it's obviously to spice and dramatize the events here.
But look at me now. I'm the biggest coward.
Still better than what Walking with Dinosaurs did.
You're about to get served.
If Little Speckles' English voice sounds familiar to you, that's because he's voiced by Veronica Taylor, the original voice of Ash Ketchum from Pokemon, Amelia from The Slayers, April O'Neil from the 2003 TMNT, Sailor Pluto from Sailor Moon Crystal, and Nico Robin from the 4Kids One Piece dub. His adult self, however, was voiced by Christopher Daniels Barnes, best known as 90s Spider-Man, Clown from the Spawn animated series, and Prince Eric from Disney's The Little Mermaid. Speckles is the youngest of his family. He lives with his mother, his big brother Quix, and his twin sisters. But he sadly lost them all when a rogue one-eyed Tyrannosaurus, Tyrannosaurus Rex in Korea? Whoops. Anyway, this Tyrannosaurus, One-Eye, wanted to eliminate the competition in the territory, so he started a stampede that killed Speckles' siblings and personally killed his mother, leaving the baby to survive on his own. And if it's not clear by now, this has become the Lion King with dinosaurs.
Long live the king!
And I guess it's pretty clear how the story would end. Speckles would grow up in this harsh world and avenge his family after he gets older. But unlike the Lion King, Speckles doesn't meet Timon and Pumbaa to be his friends. And instead of hyenas, he gets velociraptors who not only they're colored like hyenas, but they're also described as scavengers eating everything to the bone like hyenas. Speckles grows up and meets a female of his species called Blue Eyes, the first friend he ever made in his life, later his mate. They were still young and not on par with One Eye, so they kept moving away from his territory, but One Eye was so evil he kept following them to their new nest. They had another showdown, One Eye almost raping Blue Eyes because he is that damn evil.
And it's so easy when you're evil. This is the life you see, the devil tips his hat to me.
But Speckles was finally able to fend his mate and territory and claim back his old nest. But One Eye was only kicked off Speckles' territory, meaning that someday he is coming back. No, the movie is not over. We still have 30 more minutes. Now Speckles and Blue Eyes are now parents of 3 hatchlings. One of them is named Speckles Jr. because he shares the same markings as his father. Now they're affected by an erupting volcano that killed one of their children and also severely injured Blue Eyes' leg. Now the story switches to trekking through the desert, and later Blue Eyes dies due to her injury and exhaustion. Thus, Speckles is now a widow with 2 children left in honestly one of the most intense and heartbreaking scenes in the movie, as we see Speckles desperately protecting his dying wife and kids against a horde of velociraptors, only to be forced to leave her to be their meal.
Blue Eyes? Come on, open your eyes. Blue Eyes. No, Blue Eyes. No.
And while this trip wasn't for too long, there was something else waiting for them in their new home. One Eye. He notices his old enemy and uses the same strategy he used to kill his family, creating a stampede. Speckles was out cold trying to get them, so One Eye was able to kill one of the 2 kids, now leaving Speckles Jr. Speckles fights One Eye one more time, now making sure he dies by knocking him to the ocean. But Jr. was also there, meaning Speckles can't get a break yet. Speckles and One Eye were having an epic water fight, but ultimately, One Eye was killed by a Tylosaurus. Now One Eye is finally dead for good, and Speckles saves his son and they move on with their lives together. And that was the first Speckles movie. It wasn't that bad, to be frank. Yeah, the voiceover took me out of the movie a bit, but you get used to it. It helps that it's just one character speaking and the dialogue wasn't as awful as Walking with Dinosaurs. It's the kind of movie that you can turn off the audio and still get to enjoy it. Though, the voiceovers weren't that great. Despite having 2 well-known voice actors with their long history of acting as some of the most popular characters in animation, their performance here was dull. I don't know what kind of direction they were given, but their acting was not as good as it's supposed to be, thus giving a lot of dull surprise moments.
It's pretty much the end for you once those bullies get to you.
Wake up, Blue Eyes.
My sisters! Oh no!
What a persistent beast! Seems nothing can stop him.
What's happening?
No! No!
No! No!
There's not much to say about the characters since they're all from Speckles' point of view, and we don't know much about their personalities other than the generic animal roles they play. But I've got to say, One Eye is one of the scariest dinosaurs I've ever seen in a movie. There are territorial animals, and then there's sociopath animals who will kill anything they see for their own enjoyment. The movie showed us why we should fear this dinosaur, and I say it did it right. We see how bloodthirsty he is, and whenever he shows up, we know something bad is going to happen and no one can avoid it because he won't stop until everything that threatens him dies by his jaws. On the animation, it is cheap compared to Western standards, as seen by the CGI models sticking out a lot on the real-life backgrounds. The violence is a bit of inconsistent throughout the movie. Sometimes when the characters kill or eat another dinosaur, it doesn't show blood, but other times, blood and obvious injuries are shown. So even when you have an Asian company that tends to be looser with depiction of violence in their movies than the Western companies, it is still a children's movie and they can't show too much of it. But they still acknowledge they're eating other creatures. They're also not afraid to kill babies. If this scene was made by a Western company, they'd make Speckles feel guilty for eating another baby and would not do it. Here? Yeah, he is hungry and needs to survive by whatever he can eat. He doesn't care if it's an egg or not. While some say these are minor things, I do like that this movie is willing to do these things in a children's movie to give the story a little edge and real consequences, instead of the watered down Western movies that makes every child character survive till the end, no matter how improbable it is, just to give us the everybody lives ending. Animals in the wild gets hurt. Baby animals lose their families. Baby animals can die pretty easy. This is what a documentary style movie, and I use this term loosely here, should be like. Show how harsh the world is and make it dangerous to everybody. Now for the sequel. It came out in Korea at October 14th, 2017 and is titled Speckles the Tarbosaurus 2 The New Paradise, or Dino King 3D Journey to Fire Mountain. While it's directed by the same director, the production here is rather different. For one thing, this was a joint production between Korea and China. The Korean producer is Dream Search CNC and the Chinese producer is Henshin Group. EBS's involvement here is just for distribution, leaving production entirely to Dream Search. Speaking of distribution, one of the credits shown in the movie is the Korean company Next Entertainment World, or New Animation, Henshin Animation for Chinese distribution, and then we have Australian company Odin's Eye Entertainment for international distribution. In Australia, the movie was shown on August 24, 2019. Since this movie was a joint production with China, you can see the change of scenery from New Zealand to China. But seeing the first movie ending with our characters moving to a new place to live, then I guess the change is justified here. The movie picks up from the previous one with the journey of Speckles and his son. Now Speckles is a strict dad trying to make his son a strong tarbosaur like him.
Do you see this, Junior? This is our land. I fought tooth and nail for this land. Soon, this will be yours.
I guess we're still doing the Lion King here.
If you get lost in a hunt, find the river. When you follow it, you'll find your way back home.
Seriously, movie? Now you're referencing the good dinosaur film movies? I guess this was made in China after all.
You call yourself a Tarbosaurus?
Channeling Jungle Emperor on us now? Wow, that's faster than Nemo's record there. Even the movie wants it to end already. Oh hey, that looks familiar too.
Oh, crap.
Anyway, this Deinonychus group kidnapped Junior because they have something against Speckles. You know guys, just because you kill his son, Speckles will still be alive anyway. If anything, you're only going to make things worse for you. See? That wasn't too hard. Nah, of course Speckles lives, but now he lost the kidnappers and can no longer track them down. Junior wakes up and now he's in the middle of the desert surrounded by other dinosaurs who look quite excited to meet this new friend.
Hey, are you scared?
No.
Cut it out!
Thank you. My name is Junior.
I'm Blue.
Sure, let's go with that. So it turned out the Deinonychus were kidnapping dinosaur children from all over the land, and they keep them in this compound place, so then they pick random dinosaurs for unknown reason. So if this wasn't clear enough by now, the plot of this movie is Junior needing to get out of the Deinonychus lair and save all the children, and to find his confidence to make his father proud. All the while, Speckles is searching for him along with a quirky tag-along character, in this case, a nearsighted ankylosaur named Sai. You've probably seen this plot somewhere else already. Unlike the first movie that had a faux documentary style, the sequel is presented like a traditional animated movie. It's even way more less accurate when it comes to scientific accuracy. The characters now talk to each other instead of the voiceover of a single character, and they look more cartoony instead of the natural looking ones of the first movie, and that makes it clearly aimed at children. The plot is more kid friendly, and the violence shown in the previous movie was toned down here with little to no blood. Carnivores are still allowed to eat meat next to herbivores though. Finding info on the full English cast was not successful. The Wikipedia doesn't have a full list, and it also contradicts the one found on IMDb. For example, the Wikipedia lists Liam Hemsworth as the voice of Speckles, while IMDb lists Marcello Fabrizi, who voiced a character called Professor Q from I Got a Rocket. Junior's voice actor is Jackie Duncan, who played... Darth Hillary from Bernie Sanders? Oh, come on, that doesn't even sound like a real show. The one voice actor consistent between the two is Erin Connor, the voice of Fang, who previously played the character girlfriend of Tom Boylan from Terra Nova. The other voices listed are Ned Gothard as Blade.
She's right, you know. But don't worry, it'll be your turn soon enough.
And Sylvia Kias as Dusty.
I've been hiding here.
The animation quality wasn't as good as the first movie. While the CGI models looks fine for what they were trying to do, the animation itself gets a little choppier at times, giving a cheap straight-to-DVD feel to it, which I guess is the result of having different animation producers. Having all this, these two movies ended up being so different they feel unconnected. But I'll give it this though, the acting is miles better than the first one and shows a different range of emotions. Now earlier in the video I mentioned there were 2 movies, but technically 3. The third movie, or so to speak, is actually a documentary movie titled Tarbosaurus the Mightiest Ever, released in July 6, 2012, shortly after the first movie. And it is described as a spiritual prequel where we explore the life of Patch, who I assumed was Speckles' absent father, but what happens in it contradicts what happened in the first movie. Unlike the movie where we had Speckles narrating his movie for us, Tarbosaurus the Mightiest Ever is presented as a documentary narrated by Kim Do-yu. I'm not sure if he is the narrator of the English version, but whoever he is, he's trying too hard to sound like Morgan Freeman.
A couple of growling protoceratops ventures out into the open to quench their thirst. This is a risky moment for them, leaving the safety of their territory for the shore of the stream.
This documentary is often shown in 3 parts, with the first 2 being the movie, and the third is a standard paleontological documentary. This third part is also known as Land of Dinosaurs, which is the version that you can find on YouTube. And that's all I could say about the Speckles series. For all their flaws, these are refreshing to have for an animated dinosaur movie. If you got bored from what the Western movies has given us and their repeated formula and characters, I say give Speckles a shot. After all, it's not every day we get a carnivore as the star of the movie, which does give a different look at the Mesozoic era. While the 3 movies differ in presentation style, they all offer something for a specific audience to enjoy. Adults can enjoy the Patch documentary, children can enjoy Journey to Fire Mountain movie, and the family can enjoy the first movie together, from education to entertainment. If the Tyrannosaurus is the king of North America, the Tarbosaurus is the Dino King of Asia.
I'm Speckles!
A monster living underneath?